Good morning, everybody. We're back. And I'll tell you what, if there's a lot of news out there, and there is, the automotive news is just absolutely, we've got so much to talk about that if I start talking about it, we won't have any calls. And that's what we don't want. We want you to call the show. So um, you heard the recorded announcement. You know what we do. We're here to help you avoid being taken advantage of by a car dealer. And that's easier said than done because this has been going on for about 100 years. Yeah, 100, 100. I mean, the retail automobile network that we deal with today is not a whole lot different than the one that was set up about a century ago. And it's based on the old horse trading. I mean, before cars, when you bought a horse, apparently I'm not that old, but apparently when you bought a horse back in those days, it was a haggle. You know, you'd say you start out real low, and the buyer would start out real high, and then you try to meet somewhere in the middle. And I guess it was kind of fun. It was the custom, and everybody accepted it. And then the world changed, except car dealers don't change. So here we are in an industry, a retail industry, that plays the game like they were buying and selling horses. It's worse because I'm not sure that the horse hagglers were as dishonest as we find a lot of car dealers are. But that's you regulars. I know I'm boring you to death because we talk about this all the time. The main thing is to protect us from ourselves, or mainly me from myself. Call the show. That way, I won't stand up here and pontificate. I can feel my pontification growing, so I'm going to try to limit my words here and tell you how to get hold of us on this show. And telephone is preferable, the old-fashioned telephone. That number is 877-960-9960. And I know you probably don't have a question right now, or maybe you do. By the way, if you do have a question right now, because you called 877-960-9960, Nancy Stewart, my co-host, sitting to my immediate left here in our studio in North Palm Beach, Florida. She has a laptop open, computer, and she looks at it, and Jeremy in the control room gives a name, number, and the caller. So we prioritize that. We stop what we're doing. I mean, we chit chat a lot. We get into a lot of subjects. We got text and we got news articles, but a telephone call, we try to jump right on the call. Why? Well, first of all, phone calls are more interesting. They're more personal. Secondly, we've only got 5 lines coming into the studio, and we don't want people waiting and then hanging up. And we want to hear what you have to say. And by that, I mean the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is the thrill of live radio, is to be able to just shoot from the hip, say what you want to say, and you won't be censored, and you won't be attacked. There's some talk shows out there where the host attacks people. We don't attack people here. We encourage difference of opinion. And just because you don't agree with me or Rick or Stu or Nancy, doesn't mean you're wrong. We could be wrong. And so we respect your opinion. And if you have something to say, just tell it like it is. Love to hear from you. 877-960-9960. Now, if you're like me, I get a lot of phone calls. Some would say too many. I don't think so. I have good control with my phone, and I try to take as many as I can. I return calls, so I'm a call recipient and a caller. But text are really, really nice. So we provide that for you because you got 5 minutes. You're not going to wait for 5 minutes. You have something you want to say, get it off your chest, text it. And our text number is 772-497-6530. 772-497-6530. Now that goes to the computer, smartphone of my son Stu Stewart, who's sitting right across the table from me here in the studio. and he accumulates those. And as we get through the show, he'll read text, and we will get to most of the text, most every week. And finally, we have our YouTube channel, and that is arguably our probably most prolific. And I hate to say the word because all our callers have great ideas and thoughts, but the YouTubers are really something special. And that YouTube channel is just youtube.com/Earl on Cars. youtube.com/Earl on Cars. And Rick will accumulate that information too. By the way, Rick is our certified diagnostic master technician, and we tend to gravitate toward the sales and purchase and financing and all that, but we tend to forget that servicing your car is something you do far more often. And if you add up all the costs for maintenance and repairs, it exceeds probably what you spend on cars. Because you only buy a car once every 5, 6, 7 years. We have a lot of regular callers that have had their cars 10, 15, 20 years. So, but you have to bring your car in at least twice a year to get it maintained. And you add that up, ka-ching, ka-ching, a lot of money. Car dealers will take advantage of you big time in that service drive, just like they'll take advantage of you in the showroom. So if you have a squeak, rattle, or roll, call Rick or YouTube him at youtube.com/Earl on Cars. Post it, and Rick will address that issue. He'll address phone issues too, and he address text issues too. So as I say, we have a lot of information. I could just read the notes I made this morning when I got up before I came into the show and fill 2 hours, but I wouldn't do that to you, I swear. I'm going to pass the microphone over to Nancy Stewart, my co-host, my wife, and she will give you some information, especially for you ladies out there, to encourage you to call the show. If you haven't called the show before and you're female, a really delightful surprise. It sounds too good to be true, but it is true. I promise. Nancy?
Good morning, everyone. To your comment about all your information, we came in a U-Haul between Earl and I. We have so much information. We definitely wouldn't have time to share it with you. Are you ready for a fantastic show? Well, here we go. Settle back and buckle up. 877-960-9960. Ladies, take advantage of that number. You can win yourself $50 this morning. First 2 new lady callers, $50 for you. 877-960-9960. And our text number is 772-497-6530. And you can take advantage also, if you're a little bashful, to take advantage of your anonymous feedback.com. With that said, we are going to go straight to the phones where we have a few people waiting, and that's inspiring. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. How you doing today?
Welcome. Fine. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you so much for your show. Appreciate it. I'll jump right in if I can. It's pretty straightforward. Went online. I found a car I liked at Greco Chevrolet in Delray Beach. And nice car, everything was great. We agreed upon a price, and no trade. I paid cash. I wired the money in per the instructions, all set to go. And when I get the car a few days later and I go home, the numbers didn't make sense on the order, the vehicle buyer's order. So I went back in and talked to their finance manager, and he gave me a copy of the internal
Excuse me,
report
Bob.
they had.
Do you have your radio on?
I do not.
Oh, okay. I'm hearing feedback. Okay, you can continue.
I do not. Anyway, so the bottom line is that on the internal report, the price on the what I paid was $35,500 for a nice used car, and the report showed $36,780. In other words, $1,280 more. So I went and talked to this nice finance man, and he gave me a copy of a report marked for internal use only. He probably shouldn't have given me this because it had on there I was charged $500 for outside financing. And I talked to this nice man. He knew I'd wired the money in. And I said, why am I paying for a $500 financing charge? And he said, well, we have to make some money, and that helps profits in the bottom line, and you really got a good deal on the car. And I said, but that isn't fair.
That's not how it works.
And, yeah, that isn't how it works. And he said, well, no, that's really how it is. Take this home and look at it. So I took it home. And I really, the more I looked, the more I thought this isn't fair. So I sent him a nice email 2 weeks ago. I get no response. So last week I sent off a nice short letter with copies of these attachments to Mike Greco Jr., CEO of Greco Group in Delray Beach, certified mail. I get nothing back from any of these guys explaining it more than what he told me. And it's a clear-cut case of being overcharged for something you didn't get.
No, we had such high hopes for the Grecos because they've been doing better. That is that's almost worse than anything that I've heard. Is there any way you could send us a picture of that internal use only buyer's order that you got? Because the only thing we ever see on the show when we mystery shop, we get these worksheets, but we always know that other feet can drop when you get in the finance office, and that's what sounds like it happened to you. I mean, that's a complete sneak in. They just slid that in.
Boy, they make it up as they go along, Bob.
Will you send that to the show's text number?
Okay. I will. What's your text number there, sir, again, please?
It's 877.
It's at 772.
Thank you.
497-6530. We'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I've never seen one of those.
So besides, I mean, it's such a straightforward deal. I mean, their exhibits are my case, basically, you know. And all I'm asking for is a fair shake, and I wouldn't go for an oil change and get charged for a brake job and pay for it either, you know.
Unfortunately, like it's for $500. It's a situation of good luck finding a lawyer, you know, to help you for just $500. And you wrote certified mail to the Grecos themselves.
Yeah, Mike Greco Jr. to his attention personally.
Well, you got any ideas? Did you have Mike Greco's cell phone number?
Right now, I've had a massive meltdown of my iPhone, so I'm doing a technical thing with.
Well, I'll bring it to speed. Yesterday, Earl walked over. He ran away from the table with his phone a minute ago. He bought a car from used car from Greco, negotiated a price, paid it. When he saw the paperwork at the time, everything was hunky-dory. He went home, looked at it. Something didn't make sense and realized they had increased the price by $500. So he got in touch with the finance manager, called him, and he says, hey, that's just a charge that we put in there for outside finance. Hey, you got a great deal. Don't worry about it. And then he thought about it some more, tried to contact him. No one's getting back. And he even wrote directly certified mail to Mike Greco Jr. himself.
Yeah, they admitted that they have to make some money. So.
Yeah.
I paid cash. I wired the money in, yeah.
Yeah, what I would suggest is if you have an attorney that you deal with, normally a family attorney or somebody like that would do you a favor on an attorney letterhead, I would suggest that an attorney write the letter briefly in saying that they violated the Unfair and Deceptive Trade Practices Act of Florida by what they've done, and rather than litigate this and then remind Greco that if they litigate this, even though they're only talking about $500, that Greco would be responsible not only for his attorney's fees, but your attorney's fees. That's the teeth in the Unfair and Deceptive Trade Practices Act of Florida. And usually a dealer or any business, if it's a relatively small amount of money, they'll have a hard time, and usually the person that has the problem will have a hard time getting attorney interest, because to recover $500 is not worth the time of the attorney. But when you throw in there the cost of attorney's fees, years ago I had a case like this when I was first in the business, and the amount involved was $1,000. And I refused to give the $1,000 back to the customer, and so I was sued by an attorney by the name of Ray Inglesby. I remember this very well, Ray Inglesby was awarded $50,000 in attorney's fees, and of course I had to pay the $1,000. I won't waste a lot of time, but there was more to it than that. But Unfair and Deceptive Trade Practices Act, if you can get someone to do you a favor, an attorney, and just write the letter simply and use that, I think you'll get your $500 back. Well,
thank you so much for listening. And it just seemed like such a strange thing, and I just I was almost gonna. It's just such a straightforward deal. I don't understand why they would do this.
They're dishonest. They're unethical. Greco has a bad reputation. I'd say they're probably almost as bad as Mapleton, and they have a lot of people working for them. Sometimes the top dog doesn't even know what the people down below are doing, and for an extra $500, they laugh about it. It's a sad statement about just human caring about other people, and they do it because they get away with it. And there's nothing that gets an attention. See, when a letter from an attorney goes into a car dealership or any business, they're not going to throw it in the trash can.
Right.
Because they have insurance. The insurance company requires that they notify the insurance company of every lawsuit. If they get a threat of a lawsuit and they don't tell their insurance company will decline coverage. It's the contract they have with their insurance company. So if they sent this to the insurance company, they say, you better pay this right now, and if you don't, it's going to be a litigation, and our advice is to settle. If you don't settle, we're not going to cover your insurance costs because we think you're going to lose. And that's when you have a totally unreasonable dealer like Greco, that's the best way to go.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. Enjoy your show.
Bob,
you.
before
Thank
you
you very
go,
much.
let me share with you that Earl wrote a column on just this happening, and this unfair or deceptive act practice under the Florida and Unfair Trade Practices Act. Earl, as I said, wrote a column, and you can go to www.floridalawprotectingcarbuyers.com. It's a very interesting column, and the title of it is How to Know If a Florida Car Dealer is Breaking the Law. So there's a lot of things that you can do for sure. Rick?
Their lips are moving?
Yes, that's
you
when
go.
you know their lips are moving. So it's just like I
Thank you both.
said,
Have a great day.
they make
Thank
it
you.
up as they go along.
Thanks for
Thank
the
you,
call.
Bob. Don't forget to send that text.
I'm so
we are going to
disappointed.
go to Lance. And Lance calls us regularly from Tennessee. Good morning, Lance.
Well, Earl,
Yeah.
first of all, let me just say happy Veterans Day to each and every veteran. You know, our freedoms sure haven't come cheap. And so I'd just like to personally say thanks to our veterans. I'm going to be going to a commemoration service in just a little bit.
Oh.
Thank you, Lance. Did you serve?
Yes,
Thank you for your service,
Thank
sir.
you.
but I couldn't let the day pass, Earl,
Well,
without a little.
yeah,
without a
I
little
was hoping. By the way, I'm a United States Coast Guardsman, Cape May, New Jersey, class of 1959.
Earl, let me just say this. You and your staff and your crew there are doing a great job, and it's just a lot of fun to get up and listen to you on Saturday morning. I've been thinking about that Christmas album of the greatest hits of Earl Stewart on cars.
Yeah, you're running out of time.
Oh, I know it. And I'm told that 8-track may not be the best way to market it.
Well, you don't know that, Lance. Generation Z is all into retro stuff, and they want 8 tracks and vinyl. So maybe a limited release.
I want reel to reel.
Well, I'm thinking
Oh,
about pairing.
There you go.
I'm thinking about pairing this 8-track up with the greatest hits of Slim Whitman yodeling.
When I was a kid, and I used to see these commercials for Slim, I didn't know that he was a serious, country artist. And I just thought he was this goofy guy with an 800 commercial on TBS.
Nope.
He's got a great voice, great yodeler, right? Right, Lance?
Oh yeah, I'm right in there with him too.
All right, let's hear it.
Well, it's Saturday morning. You're here with us today. Rick Kearney's got a little something to say. If you're going to be traveling, please try to remember, place your battery on a battery tender.
Absolutely.
I'm still using it, Lance. Hey, Lance.
All right, listen. Good to see you. Good to talk to you. Take care.
Thank you.
We love you, Lance. Please call every week. You
We'll talk
make
next week.
everybody smile.
877-960-9960. Ladies, take advantage of that number. You can win yourself $50 this morning for the first 2 new lady callers. And we do have a first-time caller right now, and her name is Gara from West Palm Beach. Welcome.
Welcome. Hey, this is an easy question. I
Okay,
think.
before you get to that question, remember to stay on the line after we're done talking. You can talk to Jeremy, who's in our control room. He'll take all your contact information and he'll pass it along to me.
Oh my God.
Very
Perfect.
good.
Thank you.
Okay.
So my question is, I have a Mercedes 2017, and it's got the A7 on it. And it talks about an oil change, transmission fluid change, all that. It's only got 51,000 miles on it. Is that all really necessary? I know oil change makes sense to me, but transmission fluid flush and change?
Have you
Owner's
checked to see,
manual.
do you have a maintenance guide in your glove compartment?
I do. It says that you should, check it, right? But I went into some place and they recommended changing and flushing out everything. So
Right, yeah.
I'm really wondering.
Yeah, that's because Christmas time is coming. The book says to check it, and here's what Toyota says on their transmission fluid for checking the fluid level on the new vehicles. You visually inspect the transmission for external leaks. If there are no external leaks, it's fine. I mean, that's literally what it says in the repair manual.
And what year Mercedes is this?
A 2017.
So it's a recent, yeah.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
They're only saying that as check it. In other words, let the mechanic should know when they're doing an oil change and normal service on your car, they should look the thing over and make sure that you don't have any leaks, that one of the seals hasn't let loose or something, which is very rare. And just to make sure that everything's looking good. And if it is, you're fine. They try to sell these transmission flushes very early. A lot of companies do this. And again, I hate to say it because, I am a mechanic, but Christmas time is coming. And car maintenance now has reached such a small level on all the cars. Nothing really needs to be done regularly anymore for a lot of stuff, and mechanics are actually having a harder time making a living on that easy stuff.
Yes, Sarah, you probably know this, but just those listening that might not know, every service advisor, they call them service advisors, it's not really an advisor so much as a salesman. Their total compensation comes from a percent of what they sell you. And when you come in with a car and you say, please check this over, when they check it over, they're inclined to find things that, let's put it this way, if they're really dishonest, they'll recommend things they positively know that aren't true. If they're only semi-dishonest, they'll look in the gray area and say, well, it probably isn't going to hurt if we change the oil. It's probably not going to hurt if we do an alignment. And, they rationalize. But let's face it, put yourself in the shoes of a service salesperson, and you feed your family, you pay your rent, and you make your car payments based on how much service you sell. It's been a slow week, it's been a slow month, and Sarah pulls into the service drive. You have to watch and question everything they recommend. And as Rick said at the beginning of the conversation, by looking at your owner's manual, here's a rule of thumb. If you have 30,000 miles, you have 100,000 miles, whatever the mileage on your car, there will be a recommended maintenance on your car. Look at that before you go in, and if they recommend something that is not there, just don't do it. Once in a great while, you might have to reevaluate, but it's a great rule of thumb.
Great. Well, thank
And
you so much.
Gara, I have to share with you the fact that just this week I was just reading about the assumptions that are that there is an assumption that they don't understand, this mechanical situation. And that's why so many women are taken advantage of. And you know what? Men are in the same boat at some time. So it's really important. You'll knock them over with a feather if you walk in with the information that we just shared with you.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you to all the vets who served.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to Henry and Jupiter. Good morning, Henry. Good morning, Henry. Okay, I think we lost Henry. We're going to go to Lynn in Boynton Beach. She's a first-time female caller. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning. How everybody? You guys have a fantastic show. We listen every week, and we learn so much, my husband and I.
Thank you.
But last week, Nancy happened to mention about checking your insurance because you might be paying for stuff that you really don't need anymore. As you get older, maybe you don't drive as much or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we have two Mercedes 350s, and between the two of them, we probably only put not even 8,000 miles on a year, So we have Geico. We had a really good price. I thought we were doing, it was full coverage, theft and everything. We were doing like $384 a month. I thought that was great for the two cars. So then all of a sudden it went up to $458. And then within the last 6 months, it went up to $584. And so we heard your show last week, and we were like, I'm going to call them. So when I called Geico, I got the sweetest girl on the phone, and she went through my whole thing with me. And after we finished, we were only going to be paying $284 a month.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Good job.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. And if you hadn't mentioned that, I do call and compare every year, different insurance companies just to see. But this one, Geico has always been very good to us. So when she said that, I was just like so dumbfounded. I was like, are you kidding? That's like in half.
Right.
And she's laughing.
Honestly.
And I just felt like so great. And she was so nice. It wasn't like she was trying to say, yeah, but you really do need this. No, you shouldn't get rid of that, or anything. She really helped me out. And if it wasn't for hearing that from Nancy, I never would have even checked. So I just wanted
Wow.
to
I hope everybody's listening to this.
Yeah.
Ask and you shall receive.
And it only takes a few minutes. And the worst case scenario is they say, no, you are where you are. And then you go and call other places.
Sure. Never hurts.
And so, yes. So, your show is so informative. And women, where we can go in and buy a car by ourselves now. We are allowed to do that,
Yeah.
And when you go in there, I think a lot more women.
Hey, Lynn, I like that.
Yes.
Repeat that again. Women are allowed to do that now.
Yes.
And we're voting, too.
Yes. It's been a while. Come a long way, baby. So, anyway, my husband says, make sure you call Earl because he's out in his boat right now and he's listening, And I said, well, I'm going to call. So thank you so much for all the info, and you guys are great, and just keep up the good work.
I love when a plan comes
thank
together.
you, Lynn.
Well, sure, yeah.
And
Yes,
Lynn,
the
I have to mention that our latest column is average auto insurance up 18%, Florida auto insurance up 88%.
Well, see?
So this column that Earl and I, we joined minds together this past week and thought it was really imperative to put this out there. And you can go to Earl on Cars to read that column. It'll give you even more ideas. You might be down to, $100.
Yeah, well, I tell you, you're sitting here on a Saturday morning, you go, hey, why not? Let's just check it out.
Wonderful.
Fantastic.
You can spend that. You can spend that money on food.
Yes, or gas.
Everything's up on that end too.
Yes.
Lynn, thanks so much.
Yes. Oh, you're
You've
very
been
welcome.
an inspiration to all the
thank
ladies.
you.
And that's exactly what we want to do here, helping to build the platform for lady callers and lady
Absolutely.
listeners and lady buyers. And you've done a fabulous job. I can't thank you enough.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you again.
You're
so
welcome,
much.
Lynn. 877-960-9960. Or if you have a text, you can send us You can send us the text at 772-497-6530. We're going to go to Lynn, who's a first-time caller in Boynton Beach. Good morning, Lynn. How are you doing today?
Lynn, are you out there?
Okay.
She went to get a snack.
Oh, I hear a radio playing.
I hear Nancy.
Oh,
I hear Nancy through the radio.
yeah.
At
Interesting. Hey, Lynn, if you are having difficulty, give us a call back. How are you doing today? Please.
I hear Earl saying, "Lynn, are you out there?" All right, let's
turn the
next
radio
caller.
down.
We're
or
going
off
to go
the-
to Mary in Pompano Beach. Good morning, Mary.
Interesting. Hey, Lynn,
Here we go. This is Mary. Nope, not Mary. Jeremy, what's going on?
I hear Earl saying, "When are you out there?"
I hear me.
Well, as long as while we're waiting for our technical difficulties to be corrected, back on the insurance thing for a minute. The article in Consumer Reports, the latest November Consumer Reports, is interesting for a couple of reasons. First of all, it gives you a lot of great tips as to how to save money, like Sarah just did with Geico. And she mentioned that she called Geico because they're her insurance company, and she's been with them for years, and she likes them. And she called up, and they were very nice to her.
Excuse me. Lynn's back.
Lynn's back.
Lynn, can you hear me?
This is dead air.
Lynn is-
Very
Lynn-
dangerous on the radio.
I can start singing.
Yeah.
Lynn is
So-
a first-time caller, and hopefully you can hear me, Lynn. I have a great idea. Why don't you hang up and give us a call back?
Yeah.
It may be a connection on your end. So we are going to go to back to Mary. Are you there, Mary? Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Mary.
Thank God.
Hi.
Good morning.
This is
Welcome.
Mary.
Sorry about all this.
You are so welcome.
That's okay. I've called before. Thank you for the $50. I probably will call back to tell you my whole. I used all your information and did finally buy a car. But I just called to mention something. You had a guy that was just on that had a dispute about $500 from Greco.
Yes.
I really have just moved down here in the last few years, but is there no small claims court? I mean, up in New York, every municipality has a small claims court, and you just go and you tell your case, and they adjudicate it.
Mary,
Wouldn't
that's a great idea. And a lot of people don't use the small claims court, but it's available to them. Now, the problem is that the cost of utilizing, or the amount of the claim has changed. It used to be, it's now a larger claim that you have to have. I don't think that's right, but in the case of the earlier caller's claim, $500, you can't file with a small claims court. I think it's up to at least $2,500 now, and I guess that has to do with the cost of the judicial administrative expense. You got to pay the judge, you got to pay all the staff there. But small claims court is a great way to go. Now, one of the problems with a small claims court is you've got to be motivated. And you sound motivated, Mary, and Sarah was when we talked to her. But it's a lot of trouble. I've been through the small claims court personally with claims. And you really got to be a bulldog and just never give up. And the judicial process, the whole judicial thing, government bureaucracy, it beats down sometimes the best of us. But if you got that stamina, small claims court's a lot cheaper than a lawyer. A lot of times a lawyer will say, why don't you try small claims court, because there's not enough money in it for him to justify his time.
Right. Though I'm astounded that they would say that you had to have a minimum of $2,500. I mean, that's what small claims court is for. Small claims, $500. to an average person is a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm Googling
A whole
it.
lot of money.
It's under, and it says, according to Florida, it's 8,000 or less is what they said.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to find a minimum.
Oh, 8,000 or less? So
Yeah,
maybe he
that
can
shows you
do
how
that.
long since I've looked at it. So now it's 8,000. I agree with you. It's a shame. It would be a great deterrent to have that available
It
to
is.
people, but
It's not. That's not the minimum. That's the maximum.
there is no minimum.
There's no minimum. It's just a
Okay.
maximum.
Oh, well, I stand corrected. I didn't realize it. I thought there was a minimum.
Maybe he's still maybe he's still listening.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. But he calls and he obviously has a grievance and he's listening to you. So I just know that I've used it a few times up north. You do have to fill out forms, and look, there's paperwork and everything nowadays.
Yeah.
But maybe he could go that way.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make that suggestion, and thank you. You guys are great. You're really providing such great information.
Hey, Mary, before you go, you said you were from New York. I've got to ask you, how do you feel about the insurance rates down here in Florida? I'm talking 88% increase.
I think that the insurance rates are outrageous, number one. Number two, if you really want to know what I think, Ashley Moody and the administration does not really care about the average person.
Here, here.
I don't want to be political, but I know that during the last gubernatorial election, one of the things that they were saying as far as the Democrats, they wanted insurance companies to not be able to operate in Florida unless they had a full set of their products available to everyone, which would have, they cherry pick. Okay, we'll do cars, but we won't do houses. We'll do only these kind of cars. And that would have probably lowered insurance rates right across the board. Mm-hmm. But it's obvious that the insurance companies, are the lobbyists that are winning.
Well, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And you're not being political, Mary, because every attorney general that I can recall, and that's a lot of them, they've all been that way. It's a matter of they're going to take the cases that the people will hear about that will get them reelected. They don't care about the cases that are just to take care of their constituents and their voters. They want to have a case that'll get headlines. And they're also, as you correctly guessed, lobbied heavily by the automobile dealers and the automobile manufacturers. And if you want to get elected Attorney General in the state of Florida, you're going to have to play ball with the automotive industry. And that's why you don't see more help for the consumers when they're having problems buying a car.
Well, I can tell you, like you say about Sodom and Gomorrah, I won't go into it now because I'd rather put together a whole presentation for you because you said call back. But I went up to New York and I bought my car there during the summer. And it's really New York State Consumer Protections. They have other ones like in Chicago also, but I know of New York. And they only can charge you by law in New York State, a car dealer, a maximum of $175 for dealer fees. And I bought a Subaru. I went to North Lauderdale Subaru. I went to Schumacher. I went to Coconut Creek. One dealer, I actually got down to only $600 over
MSRP.
invoice.
Pretty good. Invoice.
No, over invoice.
That's
and
really good.
I was in there. I told them I have no time for this. I did what you guys said. Just deal in emails and the internet. And they sent back. It was Schumacher, and they said, because we've been dealing with you for so long, which really translates into I'm a pain in the neck, we will accept your offer, but with tags, tags, fees, taxes. The fees came up to over 4% of the value of the car. So I sent back to them. I said, look, I told you if you're not ready by May 6th to give me a real deal, I'll buy it in New York. And of course, I went on the internet. I also use Costco, and I can do a shout out to Bill Kolb Subaru in Rockland County, and I didn't even live near Rockland County. They immediately sent an out the door price. They were honest. I had to wait for the car. They were honest about that too. and I took possession of the car up in New York, and I drove it back down.
Good for you.
And I can tell you that I see on the internet that a lot of young people are even saying that they're shipping their cars from Tennessee. They're going up to Jacksonville, where it's a little more reasonable. They're going to Georgia.
Stay away from Atlanta.
Yeah, the further away
Stay
from
away from
Miami
Atlanta.
you can get, the less evil the dealers become.
The further from major urban centers.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
But it's a shame because I'd rather give my business here because I work, I live here now. And so, I think that when I hear the prices that people are paying in just fees, it's really unconscionable. And somebody like Ashley Moody, I mean, this is to say everybody should start to vote their pocketbook. I mean, she should be doing something to mitigate this. I mean, it like you say, and if it wasn't for you guys really alerting everyone, I mean, your show is priceless.
Unfortunately,
really.
the consumer lobby isn't as strong as the car dealer.
Well,
lobby.
Mary, your point is extremely valid for the reason that the lack of regulation is the problem. It isn't the lack of laws. We've got laws covering a lot of things, and almost every violation, when people call this show and say they were taken advantage of, there's almost always a violation of a Florida law, but they will not enforce the law. Ashley Moody or any attorney general, and there's a lot of other regulators out there too. I mean, the Federal Trade Commission. They make a lot of noise, and you see them in the headlines, and they'll go after a dealer in Wisconsin or something, and they get a lot of headlines. But the percentage of dealers that are kept in line as a result of the Federal Trade Commission is minuscule. So, yeah, a great example is when you're on I-95 and the speed limit says 65, what happens if you're going 65? Well, if you're going 65, you're going to get rear-ended. Cops aren't going to arrest you. You got to go. Nancy and I were on I-95 the other day going to the doctor, and a school bus, I timed the school bus was going 75 in a 65 zone. Now, why would a school bus do that? Well, because it's more dangerous to go 65 on I-95 than exceed the speed limit and go 75. So that's kind of the way it is with car dealers. Everybody does it. Everybody gets away with it. And the poor car dealer that goes out there and tries to abide by what's right and moral and ethical is going to lose money. The worst car dealer that we know of, if you're a regular listener to the show, is Napleton. He's terrible. I mean, every car dealership that he owns that we know about and other states that we don't know about is getting trouble all the time. Napleton just bought an office building in New York for $80 million in cash. That was in the front page of the Automotive News. That's how. Yeah, here, I'll hold this.
You weren't kidding about this.
I'll hold this picture up.
Yeah, for $60 million dollars in cash.
Out of his pocket. He didn't have to finance it. Now, if a dealer can take advantage of customers like this, a big dealer, he's like 15th in the nation in volume, and all of his dealerships appear to be doing this. The Federal Trade Commission's come after him, and the money he's making hand over fist. It's just the reason that the laws are not enforced that you and I have the problem. We got too many laws; they just don't enforce them.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
But, it was just a suggestion because I just think that even if he goes to court, just the fact that the dealership is going to have to get an attorney to show up or someone have to show up, it's going to cost them more than $500 to let this guy.
Well, you're
take
right.
this off
You're
his
right.
bill.
But remember what I said before to the caller, and I should have mentioned the small claims court. I didn't realize there was no minimum. There's just a maximum. So I was wrong, and I stand corrected. But what you have to realize, a letter from an attorney referring to very important, the Florida Unfair Deceptive Trade Practices Act. New York has an Unfair Deceptive Trade Practices Act. They all vary a little bit, but the one thing in common, it allows the little guy, the little gal to sue somebody for a relatively small amount, and it gets the attention of the defendant, because he says, if I litigate this and I hire a lawyer, and she wins and I lose, I have to pay her legal fees and my legal fees, plus the amount of the claim, no matter what it is. So you litigate a $500 claim and you have $50,000 in attorney's fees. Their insurance company of that business dealership will say, hey, you settle that. I'm a car dealer. We have a Toyota dealership. And my insurance company has told me, I've had situations where I felt I was totally innocent, and I was going to fight it in court, and my insurance company said, don't do it. I said, I'm innocent. And the insurance company said, whether you're innocent or not, there's always a chance that you're going to lose. And if you win or lose, you're going to have attorney's fees. And your unfair and deceptive trade practices says that if you lose, you're going to have to pay the plaintiff's attorney fees and your attorney fees. So we're requiring you to settle it. And if you don't, we'll cancel your insurance. So that's a pretty good hammer to go after a dealer for a small amount of money.
Well, my heart just went out to the guy today, and I just thought this might be a good alternative. Yeah. But I'll let you guys go. I'm sure you got a stack of calls, and I really appreciate all that you do. And Earl, everybody that I know is going to go to you for Toyotas.
Well, bless your heart. Thank you.
Mary,
all the time.
We can't thank you enough. What a phone call. I mean, you are an educated consumer. You just covered it all, and you, with the icing on the cake, is you're mentioning the Attorney General, Ashley Moody, and we have been on the air for a very long time. We have never heard from her. Never. She just doesn't want to help us. She just doesn't want to help us. That's how I feel. And Mary, let me leave you with another website that you could go to, www.floridalawprotectingcarbuyers.com. And I'm sure, as far as your car insurance is concerned, nobody sat down with you and said, hey, listen, Mary, you could save $400, $500 a year just by increasing your deductible. So if you're not an educated consumer like you are, Mary, and I'll tell you what, you've reached a lot of people this morning. They heard you loud and clear, and I appreciate.
Thank you so much. You're very flattering. And my only other thing to say is 2024 is coming up. It's time to start voting in people who take care of us, no matter what political party they are in.
We hear you, Mary.
There you go. Let your voice be heard. Thank you, Mary.
Have a
wonderful day. Okay, no phone calls. What do you have, guys?
We got texts, and we have messages on YouTube, I'm sure.
Okay.
Anne Marie, she found an article. Anne Marie always texts us or refers to an article. She was able to successfully text it to us, so I browsed it. But her message gets to the point. She says, "Good morning. A couple of days ago, I read a story in the Washington Post how car dealers aren't ready for electric cars. This is really funny. One example cited was about a lady who walked into a dealership to buy a used Fiat 500e. Yes, that was the vehicle she wanted to buy.
Poor lady.
That's well, Anne-Marie anticipated it. She goes, yes,
Fiat.
That was what she wanted to buy, an all-electric Fiat. She looked over the paperwork and spotted that they included a plan for oil changes and a warranty for a gasoline-powered car with your transmission and all that. She laughed, declined, but she bought the electric car without the protection. Do you think it's ignorance or greed on the dealer's part, or just force of habit why they include all that? And she has a follow-up question later on, but I really think that they're just caught flat-footed. It didn't sound like a Fiat dealership. It was a used car, she mentioned, so they just don't know. But yeah, I think dealerships with major manufacturers, they have help from the manufacturers easing into the transition. We are, we're getting guidance on how we have chargers and all that, on the property and all that. But this dealership didn't. But that is a really funny story, and I would imagine it's probably happening all over the country. If you have a good warranty company, however, you just put in the vehicle that you're selling, and it will come up with available coverage. So it might have been like a small town kind of dealership. Everything's computerized now. It's hard to make that mistake. The other question she has, and I want everybody here at the round table to think about this. We've had our mystery shoppers for many years now. What's the most outrageous behavior that our shopper has ever encountered? And just before we answer, Anne-Marie, we're talking 20 years here, so it's kind of hard. It's like, what's your favorite movie? I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind for me is just, it's not the behavior, it was just the ghost car, and I think that was a Greco, I think. Greco had an ad for a car that wasn't there, then it appeared at another location, and then another location.
The ghost car.
The ghost car, it went on for, I think, 6 months or so. I don't know.
Mine would go way back with Scott Cadmus, who did.
Oh, that's the behavior on the part of the mystery shopper.
Well, yeah, but the most memorable mystery shop is Scott Cadmus was our service manager, and rest in peace. He's passed away, unfortunately, a few years ago. But he would go into mystery shop dealership. He went into two. Palm Beach Toyota was one of them. The other one was Al Hendrickson. And in one case, we asked him to get a copy of the buyer's order. Back in those days, they wouldn't even consider giving a buyer's order or let you take it. They didn't have iPhones then, so we weren't taking pictures. So Scott just walked into the sales manager's office and grabbed it off the sales manager's desk,
right.
And they chased him all the way back to the car.
He made it.
He made it out alive.
And then we did Al Hendrickson. I can't remember, but it involved almost fisticuffs. It came to.
He was surrounded.
Yeah, they were gonna.
They stopped him. They tried to stop him from leaving.
Unfortunately, Scott was a big, tough guy. I mean, it would take 4 or 5 of them to take Scott down.
Right.
So
they backed down. Scott made it home safely. That was crazy. I don't know. Anne-Marie would probably have to think about it, or maybe.
How much more exciting can you get?
Well, that's very exciting. I'm wondering, like, what's the craziest thing that a salesperson ever did, or. But we'll think about it, or I might go back and peruse
Anne-Marie,
the
for
archives.
Me, I think that it's real easy. You go back a time when it was acceptable for a salesman to say to the lady, "Where's your husband?" Or "Are you going to bring your husband in, to cover this deal?" And maybe even asking her if she needed a makeup mirror in the car. So now that we've moved into the 21st century, things are a little more controlled. But that's what I remember. Okay, our number is 877-960-9960. And I'm assuming, Stu, that you're finished with Anne-Marie.
Oh, Anne-Marie, yeah, we're all set with hers, yeah.
Okay. We are going to go back to the phones, and we are going to talk to Steve, who's calling us from Jupiter. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Great.
Great. I talked to you last week about a 6-cylinder Camry.
Oh, yes.
One of the most fun cars I ever drove that's not a race car.
Right.
And so I'm wondering, and you said that it's going to be discontinued, the 6-cylinder. Is there a Lexus that would be still using the 6-cylinder so that, the motor can be serviced and stuff, or what's going to happen there if
without having? I think Lexus and Toyota are going ahead towards eventual electrification, but both models right now for this year and next year or so are still gonna have gas models, but so specifically on Lexus I don't know, but I suspect that if you're talking about like the ES models, like the Camry-like models, I bet you they're going the same way as Toyota. I mean, as the Toyota nameplate, because the same car.
Okay, but you can't even. You said, I think, as I understood you can't buy a 6-cylinder Camry now.
No, I made a mistake.
No.
The only models you can are on the TRD. So the Camry TRD you still can.
Oh, what is the TRD? I don't know what that is.
That's the Toyota Racing Development It's just a sub brand within the Toyota family, and they have different vehicles. So they have souped up suspensions, better performance specifications.
How much more would they be than just a regular Camry? An estimate.
They're up there like with the upper trim levels, like similar in price to the XLEs and the XSEs.
35.
Probably closer to 40. But I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
TRDs.
TRD, Toyota Racing.
Okay, thanks. That answers my question. I might stop by I guess I have to stop by a Lexus shop and see if they're going to continue.
Well, I guess that they will now in the next year or so, but down the road it's all going away.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for the information. I like your show and I appreciate your answers.
All right.
Thank you, Steve. We appreciate you. Our number is 877-960-9960. Or you can take advantage of our text number at 772-497-6530. And ladies, I do have $50 for the next new female caller. I had one on the line and I lost her. I hope you call back. We're going to go to John in Palm City, who is a regular caller.
Good morning. Happy Veterans Day.
Thank you.
Self-served.
Happy Veterans Day.
Yes, I served 8 years during the Vietnam era in the reserve, but I was never activated. But some of my friends that were, they never came back. But again, happy Veterans Day. I got a question. First question, my friends tell me I'm too serious whenever I speak to them or call. So I got to tell you a story about a friend of mine yesterday that called me. He said, I'm coming over your house, and I'm going to use your computer. I said, why? He said, my wife won't let me go on Google. I said, why? He said, she says she has all the answers.
Oh.
Well, anyhow, a question for Rick. A question on fuel pumps, okay? Many automobiles built today, especially some older ones, is the fuel pump built into the gas tank?
99.999% of them.
Okay. I spoke to a mechanic, and he has a car in now. He said it's about, I don't know, a couple of years old, and he has a fuel pump problem. But here's what he says. He says that being that the fuel pump is a gas tank with the gasoline that we're using today, with the ethanol in it, it's rotting the fuel pumps, and they have to be replaced. Have you ran across much of a problem like that, Rick?
No. Very, very rarely.
Well, this is an older car. I think it's 8 or 10 years old.
Yeah, no. The only time that we see issues with fuel pumps having degradation is when people accidentally put in E85 fuel.
Yes.
Then that has so much ethanol that then it is extremely corrosive, and it does cause an issue. But even then, if they pump so much E85 into the tank, the car is not going to run right, and we will immediately drain the tank, flush it out, it gets rid of it, and we rarely see any problems with the pump after that. The fuel lines, the injectors, all of it's usually fine. It takes quite a bit of exposure to that high concentration of ethanol that's in the E85 for it to actually affect those pieces.
Now, what about gas gauges? Problem with gas gauges? Because some of the older cars, the gas gauge had a combination of steel and aluminum. And there's an electrochemical process caused by ethanol where aluminum and steel together are a nightmare. They corrode faster than pure gasoline. And also engines with ethanol, they run hotter, they get vapor lock, and they're a big danger, especially to older vehicles, including blowing gaskets. Would there be any truth in that, too?
Nope. At least not that I've seen. It's very rare that we have fuel problems on the cars that we have anymore. I don't see those issues cropping up at all at our
John,
dealership.
what I think is that the technology has been able to mitigate the effect that you're describing. And when they first started pouring ethanol into gasoline to when the whole thing started, it really created a lot of problems, and the engineers decided we better do something about about the way these cars of ours digest this gasoline, and they came up with technological changes that allow you to use more ethanol. Because if you go back 25 years, it was poisonous. Today, like Rick says, the car absorbs the whatever you want to call it, the negative effect does not occur anymore.
It's kind of like the idea of drinking a soda once in a while. The acid in a soda is not going to affect you if it's just once in a while. But if you drink, 20 or 30 sodas a day, it's going to cause problems.
But ethanol is killing our gas mileage. It burns faster than gasoline. So
Yeah,
that's a
but
negative.
it does have certain effects that the government says, no, you got to have that in there. And right now we're actually running, most pumps are running up to E15. But E10 and E15 are both completely safe on any car built since about 1990.
Okay. Well, be cautious, especially if you have an older car. If you put that in a car like Earl's 37 Pontiac and you didn't change any of the lines or gas,
Whole nother story.
yeah, you'll have a lot of leakage and a lot of problem. But that's an exception.
Yeah,
but that's
Thank
why
you for the information.
that's
Thank
why
you.
certain gas stations still have ethanol-free fuel. And when you go to gas stations where you can get boaters filling up, because boat engines generally require ethanol-free fuel, and so it's still available, and it's for use in those vehicles.
Yes, thank you for the information. I still wouldn't use E15. It's too much of a concentrate on ethanol.
John, thanks for sharing your information with us every week. We really enjoy talking to you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for being there.
Happy Veterans Day again. We're going to go to Brad, who's calling us from Deerfield Beach. Good morning, Brad.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
I called last weekend. I've still been trying to get my nurse girlfriend to call in and get that $50, but
Oh,
she's
no.
too shy.
She's
yeah,
what?
but she's too shy.
Well, text.
Yeah.
Have her text us.
Well, she don't need the money. She's a nurse. Those girls get paid a ton of money, I'm retired. I was listening along, and I had a couple things bouncing around in my head, and the previous caller talking about the alcohol in the gas. My opinion is it's a curse on mankind, and they did it to water down the gas, and I remember I had an Accord, and it got 33 to the gallon on regular gas, and when you put the alcohol gas in it, it got 30. It was 10%. At that time, it was 10% alcohol, and you lost 10% of your fuel economy. Where's the savings?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'll tell you where it really kills you is alcohol attracts water. And every single one of my lawn equipment, pieces of lawn equipment, my edger, my blower, all the fuel lines rotted out and dissolved and ended up as goo in the carburetors. And, those little engines, you have to replace the carburetors. They're too tiny to blow out the jets and everything. And I learned you don't put alcohol gas in your lawn equipment.
Yeah.
And Wawa sells it, but it's expensive as hell. There's videos. You can go on YouTube, and they'll show you put the gasoline, the alcohol gas in. If you can't find, like, a Wawa, they'll just sell it to you. They call it Rec 90. And the reason they put it in boats is because it will destroy the engines and rot out the gas tanks.
Bob, a lot of that's political, too, because we talk about big insurance, we talk about big auto. There's also big farm. And
yes.
And big farm, you can bet that every senator and congressman is getting huge contributions from the farm lobby, especially the sugarcane growers and all sorts of other. We never see the big picture of what's going on in the background, but why we end up with all this ethanol, there's a lot of reasons.
Oh, yeah. I'm old enough to remember when you'd go to the grocery store and ground beef was 99 cents a pound, and chicken, boneless, skinless chicken breast was $2.50, and now boneless, skinless chicken breast you sometimes can find it for $2.25. but ground beef is you can't find it less than $3.50. That's because the government subsidized the corn industry to put it into fuel, and the people that had cows that raised them to be beef, ground beef, now had to compete with the subsidized corn industry because all that corn now was going to, to be put in fuel. Now it's ridiculous. Ground beef is, double what chicken breast is.
The price of democracy.
Of course. But it is a curse on mankind because it does attract water, it dissolves fuel lines. Most of the new cars are designed to, take that fuel, but you don't want to put it in a car and let it sit for a long time because it attracts moisture. And like I said, there's videos where you can go on, like say you live out in the sticks and there's no Wawa that sells you a Rec 90. They'll show you can put you can get a gallon jug and put the gas in it, and you add a certain amount of water and shake it up and let it sit overnight, and the water bonds to the alcohol and separates the bottom. You siphon off the pure gas.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I find it interesting that you guys. Look, I get it. I would love to own a Tesla. It doesn't fit my lifestyle. But the fact that you own a Toyota dealership and you love your Tesla because it has certain, it's an interesting technology.
It is,
It
and
has to suit your lifestyle.
And I'm a techie. I mean, the Toyota's a great car. But I majored in physics in college, and I'm just one of these scientific. I read all this kind of stuff, and I like science. I like mathematics and things like that. So when I drive the Tesla, when I say I really love driving it, part of it is the technological experience. The software is absolutely amazing that is in the car. And about every week or two I come out, I have a free software upgrade. And I get all excited, and I pull it up on the screen on the Tesla, and it tells me all these cool things that my car will do now that it wouldn't do before. So it's like a science fiction thing with me. It's not that Honda and Nissan, and there are a lot of great cars on the road out there, but I'm just a tech freak, so I love Tesla.
For the Tesla, Brad, there is just a lot of pluses. And one great one is that we don't have to sit in line to get gas. The other, maintenance is just, there is no maintenance. And I love driving the Tesla. And you just can't go wrong. And now Elon Musk is making it easy to own, an EV because he's reduced so many of the prices on so many of the Teslas.
I agree with you, and I love the technology, and I researched it hard. It just didn't fit my lifestyle.
Sure,
I
understand.
called in the past, and I told you that because I don't do a lot of driving. The Tesla, if you leave it in your garage unplugged, it's losing about 4 miles a day. It's like having a gas tank that's slowly dripping. If you commute back and forth to work and occasionally need to go 100 miles somewhere and 100 miles back without charging it, it makes sense. But what's in the future, and here's my prediction, you could see it coming, right, is this. Like right now you say, I don't have to go to the gas station, and the amount of electricity that my car consumes to go 30 miles is 17 cents or something like that. But trust me when I tell you the government is not going to sit by idly and say we're losing all this tax per gallon on gas. There's going to come a point where there's a percentage of people that drive electric cars, and they're going to say, here's the new rule. Every time you renew your tags, if you have an electric vehicle, we're going to figure out how you're going to have to report what your mileage is on your car, and you're going to get taxed.
Oh, yeah.
To the point where it doesn't save you any money.
If they didn't get it there, they get it somewhere else. I mean, the government loves to spend money, and they know who's got the money. It's us taxpayers. And so that's one way or the other.
Brad?
Right now it makes...
It's been a pleasure talking to you. You're filled with a lot of information. We could go on for hours. I'm going to leave you with this thought. Tell your girlfriend to give me a call, and it's real easy. She doesn't have to be nervous about calling. Thank you so much, Brad. Have a great weekend.
It's easy when you're not shy like she is, but I'm going to part you with this. I love your show, and especially the Chronics. And who am I? Earl Steert is the best.
We have Lance
all
fans
the
out
rest. Love you, Lance. Love you like a brother. Love the show.
Brother
Have a good
from
weekend.
another mother.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brad. We are going to go to Rick if he's got anything for us.
I do.
How's Donovan today?
Oh, Donovan has been right in here because Steve Maggs came in with an interesting question, and there has been a discussion going here in the chats like you wouldn't believe. Says, good morning, Earl. In your opinion, are traditional franchise dealerships impeding electric vehicle sales since they can make more money from internal combustion engine sales, particularly for service? Is the future direct manufacturing EV sales like Tesla? Now, in the future, will we see franchise dealers go away?
Well, there's only one thing impedes a car dealer from selling cars. That's from making money, and they want to sell the cars that they can make the most money on. I think that the manufacturers have not delivered the product, the electric vehicle product, and electric vehicles sales are backing up for everybody except Tesla, and the manufacturers of the electric vehicles are struggling because they don't have as good a car as Tesla does. And right now, if you want to buy an electric vehicle from and it's not a Tesla, you could probably negotiate one heck of a price because there's a huge oversupply of electric vehicles for those manufacturers other than Tesla they're building. Tesla is pretty much a seller's market, and they're pretty much selling every car they can build.
And to paraphrase, kind of bring this whole conversation out here, Donovan replied, he says, there's a good article in the Washington Post from a few days ago about just that subject, stating that dealers don't want the EVs and are actively hurting sales right now. And they go on to say, let's see where we have it here. Donovan, Steve comes in and says, Donovan can't totally blame the dealerships. He says he recently passed by a Mercedes-Benz dealer that had a load of the new unsold EQS sedans, which are Mercedes electric cars, sitting on the lot collecting dust. In other words, they had quite a few of them sitting there. And Steve says, or Donovan came back with this one is, Steve, I put 50% on dealers, 50% on the manufacturer. The EQS is a joke, and that's 100% the fault of Mercedes-Benz. Sitting on their hands for a decade, it's overpriced, charges slow, and has bad software, which is one of the things a lot of folks, they don't like about the Toyota BZ4X, that it does not have the range. It's very slow to charge.
And it's slow itself to drive.
Yep.
Listen, the car dealers aren't dictating what cars they're selling. That's the manufacturer. So the reason EV sales aren't taking off, like you said, it has nothing to do because with the car dealers. I mean, if the car dealers can get enough of them that people want to buy them, it's the manufacturers that are rushing to the game. And like you said, Tesla's been doing this for since 2008. I don't know when they start selling the Tesla. It's a long time, a lot longer than anybody else, and it'll take a while for them to catch up. I've heard real good reviews on some very high-end EVs that challenge Tesla, like the Porsche Taycan is supposed to be up there and better than whatever.
Dealers are also afraid of electric vehicles because it represents change. Nobody likes change, especially car dealers, and the electric vehicle has set up a chance for the manufacturers to go direct like Tesla does. And every time a manufacturer talks big about building more and more electric vehicles, Ford, for example, there's a recent survey done on manufacturers and what the dealers thought about the manufacturers. The worst, most despised manufacturer by dealers is Ford. And Ford is going heavily toward electric vehicles. You could say it's a good idea, a terrible idea, but whatever it is, that's what they're doing. Now, they're also requiring dealers to have certain facilities and certain training and a lot of other things, there's also the danger that they might just say, I'm going to sell these electric, I being Ford, we will sell these cars directly. If you don't want to do what I tell you you have to do, it'll be very expensive. We'll just go direct like Tesla. So, the dealers, all the major dealers, even Toyota is backed off. They missed the boat on electric, and then they turned around and went heavily toward electric, and now they're backing down on electric again. So it's chaos everywhere except with Tesla. The manufacturers don't realize that it's a software game. Tesla's ultimate goal is not to sell a bunch of cars, electric vehicles. Tesla's ultimate goal is to sell autonomous usage. And what Elon Musk wants to do is 10 years from now, you'll pay Tesla $3,000 a year, and you'll have your new Tesla in your garage as soon as you hit your app button on your phone and walk out the front door. And whenever if you're at Publix, you're at the hospital or Walgreens or wherever you are, you just hit your app and your new Tesla pulls up, takes you home, and then it goes somewhere else. You don't know where it goes, you don't care, because if you need it, in 2 minutes it'll be back. That'll cost you $3,000 a year, and what are you paying now for a new car? And maintenance, insurance, and everything else.
Exactly.
5 times that?
Yeah, easy.
Exactly. Exactly. Great information. You know, guys, the future is here. We're going to go to John. I thank you so much for your patience. And John's calling us from West Palm Beach.
Just a simple question. Earl, you said you're a techie and you love your Tesla and that. I was just wondering, with all the information and stuff, have you ever played with your light show?
No, I did. Yeah, I did one time. It's it's cool. I mean, one thing about Elon Musk is he's got a sense of humor, and he has all sorts of toys on there. He has a horn that sounds like flatulence, or you can say, "Get the hell off the road." That'll be your horn, and. If you want to give a verbal command to plug your Tesla in, you can say insert butt plug. I mean that's like
really?
6-year-old humor.
Yeah.
But it appeals to everybody. If you want to play with your Tesla, it's got all sorts of crazy stuff, even stupid stuff. Some of it's stupid.
Yeah, the butt plug is the charger port.
Yeah, the butt plug. Yeah, right.
Because you should have 2 songs already, and another update is coming around Christmas time for your 3rd one.
Okay.
Exciting.
You should pull into the dealership with it blaring. Isn't that the boombox mode, right? There's a boombox mode that you play your music on the outside of the car.
Yeah, boombox is when you're parked, and you can play whatever music's inside until you get out of the car. The light show is programmed that when you get out of your car and you close the door, you can schedule for up to 10 minutes, and then it goes through the whole ensemble of the music, and the lights flash, the windows go up and down, and doors open and close, and all that.
Yeah, Nancy and I did that one time at night. Left the car in the driveway, and when the police came, we decided we better. It's like when I did the summons command at Publix. We were shopping at Publix. We had our basket of groceries out front, and I hit summons, and my car pulls out of the driving spot, and all of a sudden hundreds of people are gathered around the car, and I felt like a moron.
Things need to be fine-tuned a bit, but we are having a great time. I love driving the Tesla. It's just an amazing car.
All right. Well, have a great week. That's all I had.
Thank you,
See
John.
later.
Thank you.
John.
Stay tuned for the mystery shopping report, John. You don't want to miss this one. It's a doozy. We're going to go to Marty. The show would not be the same without Marty. He calls us from West Palm Beach every week.
Good morning. How are you?
We're great, thank you. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah. I just have a question. In car advertising, I don't know if it's the federal government or the state government, but all these ads, including Toyota and everything, they'll advertise you can get a certain car, and in the smallest print they put on TV or whatever, they have the down payment, if they even have the down payment. Who would have to enforce that the down payment should be included in the price, so that the price of a $200 a month lease is really $400?
It's already the law. Every time you see that, it's a violation of federal law, Federal Trade Commission. And we were talking about that earlier. The government can make laws really easily. We got so many laws, most people don't even know what they are. That's part of the problem. And the worst ones are the ones where you know what they are and you don't care about it. So, yeah, every time you see a lease ad or a price on television, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's the manufacturer advertising or the dealer advertising, the price is not the price you can buy the car for. It's in the fine print. You can't possibly read that fine print, no matter how close you're sitting to the TV set. If you could read it, it only flashes on the screen long enough for you to get out of your chair and try to read it. So that's the problem. They just don't care. They don't enforce the laws they've got.
Marty, on that particular kind of ad, those are crazy, and I've seen there's similar things too. I've seen ads that show lower price, but it includes $5,000 customer cash.
Right.
So the price is $30,000. They advertise $25,000. It's really $30,000 because $5,000 of it comes from you. I don't even understand that.
And then, or for participating dealers?
Yeah.
That's the manufacturer. They'll say, buy a brand new Hyundai for $42,995, and then in the fine print, participating dealers only. No dealer chooses to participate, then you can't buy the Hyundai.
Right. And I don't want to knock the lady that found cheaper car insurance, but it's also based on what your limitations are. Mm-hmm. So when you go and you're trying to do apples and apples, if you put a $2,000 deductible instead of a $200 deductible, it's going to go down. Your price is going to go down. Mm-hmm. So it's all whether
but that makes sense.
You can afford or you're willing to take, more of a risk.
If you get in a lot of accidents all the time, you might want to have a lower deductible. But if I've never been in an accident, mind knocking on Formica.
The average driver does not have an insurance claim except every 20 years. Let me repeat that. The average driver in America only has an insurance claim once every 20 years. Now, there are obviously some exceptions, notable exceptions, but the insurance companies thrive on, I'm afraid I'm going to have an accident. If you're a lousy driver and you know you're going to have an accident, you're going to have a high premium, shame on you. But if you're just an average driver, you're not going to have if you have an accident, you'll probably have to fix it yourself because you hate to file the insurance claim and jack your insurance premium up. So there's nothing wrong with a big fat deductible.
And you know what, Marty? I haven't been part of this, but there have been so many people that have said to me because of, this being, on our show 2 weeks in a row about car insurance, they would rather settle with cash. They'll say to you, hey, listen, on the side, let's settle this with cash because my insurance rates are going to go sky high.
No, I agree. I'm just saying that when you look at the price, you can make any price come down.
Right.
Same as buying a car.
Right, arbitrarily.
If you put $10,000 down, you're not paying as much as if you put $1,000 down.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying is price-wise, it always fluctuates by, what your down payment is and what your deductible is and everything else.
Yeah.
Because the insurance companies all make a lot of money.
Boy, do they ever.
What Marty's saying is all the shell game, and in a lot of cases it is. But like Earl says, you gotta rely on statistics and probability. If you govern your life by that, you're golden.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, homeowners insurance now is, of course, crazy here in Florida. My way of correcting that would be, if you got a 20-year-old house, just make the limit on what it should be if your roof blows off.
Yeah.
In other words, maybe the most they should pay is $10,000, not $40,000.
Exactly.
And that's how the rate should be figured.
Yeah.
But now they're not even. A lot of people are now have to go without insurance.
Yeah, I don't even know.
They can't afford the premium.
Or their insurance company left.
Yeah.
Right.
And Marty, you mentioned, the insurance companies, getting out rich. I can't help but think about Warren Buffett. You can go back in time and, you can definitely come up with a positive that he definitely was very smart with insurance, all kinds of insurance. Marty, it was great talking to you. We have other callers.
Yeah, okay. Have a good weekend. And as a veteran, I enjoy Veterans Day.
Thanks for your service,
exactly.
Marty.
Happy Veterans Day, Marty.
Okay.
Thank you for what you've done for us.
Okay.
Have a great weekend. We're going to go to Bennett in West Palm Beach. Thank you, Bennett, for your patience. What can we do for you this morning? Can you hear me, Bennett?
Okay. Yeah, I can. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to reflect this question to Rick. I have a major problem with a vehicle that we purchased back in January. And apparently we're not getting the gas mileage that they say we should be getting on the sticker. I don't think we're getting 15 miles to the gallon. I went to Google and I saw that we should be getting over 500 miles on a full tank, full tank of gas, but I don't think I'm getting 300 miles on a full tank.
First question, what's the vehicle?
It's a Subaru Ascent. It's a 23, four-cylinder.
Okay, so brand new car, pretty much brand new.
Car, right.
Yeah, all right. Here's
the gas fluctuates so much.
Here's what you need to do.
Okay.
This is the first step. You've got to get a baseline idea, real, factual, real world numbers of what your fuel economy is in your car. And this is how you're going to do it. Just a simple notebook. When you go to the gas station next time, try to run it down to where it's below a quarter tank. Write down what your miles are and how many gallons it takes to fill the car up. Then the next time you go to the gas station, again, you want to get it below a quarter tank. Write down the miles and how many gallons it takes to fill it up. Do this for at least 3 or 4 tankfuls, and then subtract out so that you know how many miles, because you're writing this on paper, so this is the simplest, basic method. You subtract out how many miles it took for each tank full, how many miles you drove, and divide out how many miles per gallon you got for fuel economy over that average of 3 or 4 tankfuls. And if you're getting 14 or 15 miles a gallon, and that's what the car is rated for, then that would be good. Now, a couple of things you can do that will help improve this. Make sure your tire pressure settings are up where the manufacturer says they ought to be, and you can even set them a few pounds higher, and it will get you a little better fuel economy. Make sure that your back seat and your trunk, that you don't have a whole lot of junk just stored in there that you don't need. The spare tire, the jack, that's fine, but a lot of people will carry a bunch of extra stuff in their car that they don't really need dragging around with them, and that will hurt your fuel economy. And the other one is just try to watch how you drive and avoid those, hard gas starts. Try to coast a lot. When you see the traffic light way up ahead is going to turn red, let off the gas and just let the car coast for a while.
Right.
Don't step on the brake immediately.
Okay. I hear you. I read that, and let me just say that we don't carry anything extra in the vehicle. We don't jackrabbit the car.
Good.
My wife drives it to work. We do everything that we're supposed to do or not to do. And,
excellent.
I filled up the tank. What I did is when I fill up the tank, I reset the numbers. the A and B part.
Right, your trip meter. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, right. I reset that, and I don't think I'm getting 230 miles on a full tank. I've done that twice, okay, and I don't think I'm getting that. I don't drive the car that much, but I know I've done it twice, reset it, and I'm getting 230, maybe 240 on a 19.5-gallon tank. And I wonder if Subaru has a problem with this, or other cars have a problem with this, because we do everything right. We're older people. We don't. It's mostly city. It's mostly city driving, and I'm not understanding. It's a brand new car. I mean, I have not even 8,000 miles on the car.
Do you drive into a lot of headwinds?
What I would do is I would use that paper formula first, and I would get like 3 or 4 tankfuls. Kind of build your case is what you're wanting to do, and find out how many miles per gallon your car is getting for 3 or 4 tankfuls. And if it's very low, now when you go in to talk to Subaru, go in and say, hey, I'm seeing this problem. My fuel economy is very low.
Just don't talk to Subaru. Put it in writing to Subaru.
Yeah, and this way, but you can show them proof. You save your receipts even, and you can show them proof of what your fuel economy is, and say, this is not what it should be. Please help me. There's either something with the car or something going on here, but my fuel economy is not where it should be.
It's easy math. If I have a 19.5-gallon tank, and just let's say a 20-gallon tank, but the car comes with 19.6, and if I'm getting 20 miles to the gallon, that's 380 miles on a tank. I'm not getting but 230, 240 at the most. Subaru wants me to bring the car in, leave it there for a couple of days, okay, so they can run it for a couple of days. Of course, I have to bring it in with a full tank. They'll let me know. I went to my mechanic. He said that I should call somebody up north to see what their reaction is, okay? Or I'm just
Well,
beside myself.
when you say Subaru, you're talking about the Subaru dealer. How close is the next Subaru dealer?
Well, I go to the one with the part of the family.
Schumacher, yeah. I take it to a different Subaru dealer. I mean, yeah, but Rick's point being that when you have written documentation, then they know that your numbers are not. Frankly, a lot of people complain about gas mileage because they don't drive the car right. And we have cases where they'll come in with a Prius, so they buy a Prius, they think they're going to get 100 miles a gallon or something, and they're not getting the mileage. And we will demonstrate to them if they can. So, but that's what I do. Try another Subaru dealer, but meanwhile, get your gas mileage measured. We're running out of time, so we have to get to our Mr. Shopping report.
Okay.
Try that,
good.
and please call back next week.
Yeah, Bennett, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you for calling. Okay, Earl's got some exciting news for you.
Yeah, we just got word from owner of the station that they've expanded our coverage. Now we're going all the way, Earl and Cars and True Oldies is going all the way to Key West.
That's right.
New frequency.
Get your margaritas out.
Yeah.
We're going to do the show from Key West.
So we're going to have a whole bunch of new listeners. The additional frequency is 104.3 HD3. I don't know what HD3. I guess it's
high def, right? Yeah, that's the
high
digital radio.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 104.3 high definition 3. So that's really cool. All the way down. I mean, Homestead, Key West. Wow. We'll have some new listeners. You folks that live south that are already listening, like in Miami, in Fort Lauderdale, if you have any friends even further south, pass the word. We'd appreciate spreading the word about True. Actually, the car dealerships in Key West, I think there's only a couple.
Right now, okay, where does it go now? What's the farthest south we go right now?
We touch Miami.
We touch Miami.
Yeah.
Okay, but now we're. Huh?
This is going to boost the signal.
Yeah, we're going to have a strong signal all the way throughout Miami, and there
Yeah.
are so many car dealerships
Yeah,
in there.
we're in the heart of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right, exactly.
That's a pretty exciting area.
Right, they're going to hear us
Pretty
now.
exciting.
We might get some more calls
How close
from
is
down
Sodom to Gomorrah, by the way? I never knew that.
there. Sodom, I think, was a little bit worse than Gomorrah because they got all the stuff named after them. You know, there's no
Sodom,
you
Gomorrah.
Can't,
You got Sodom, Gomorrah, Miami,
anybody.
Fort Lauderdale.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
I got you. Okay.
Okay, I think that we're probably ready for the mystery shopping report, and you can, our audience that we love so much, you guys can be part of the voting, and you can do so at 772-497-6530, 772-497-6530. We went to Fort Pierce. And you need to buckle up and hang on and listen to this mystery shopping report.
Yes.
And that is from Garber Buick GMC of Fort Pierce.
Yeah, the name Garber is somewhat familiar. I don't think we shopped a Garber dealership.
I have never heard of them.
They've been around a long time. I Googled them. Garber Buick GMC in Fort Pierce, Florida. Speaking of the first person, is if I were Agent Lightning, our crack undercover agent. I arrived during lunchtime, and before I could walk up to a vehicle that caught my eye while parking, a salesman named Lekos.
I knew you'd like that.
I like names. Names are interesting to me, and it just seems to me in the past few years the names have gotten more interesting. Lackos emerged from the side door, introduced himself with a handshake. "What brings you in today?" Lekos asked. "I'm looking for a 7-passenger SUV. Is this one?" I replied, placing my hand on a new 2024 Buick Enclave Avenir FWD, full-wheel drive.
Excuse me. I have information about Lackos.
Oh.
I just Googled it. What kind of name is Lackos? It's Hungarian. It's from a pet form of Laszlo. So it's Slovak, Russian, Czech. So he's Eastern European name.
I'll be darned.
Lackos.
Fascinating. And Lackos says, yeah, as a matter of fact, this is the top-of-the-line edition, referring to the Enclave Avenir. You have great taste, he said. I looked the vehicle over, walking around slowly with Lackos close behind. I saw, this is not going to shock our regular listeners, I saw no manure label on the car, in or under the vehicle. Under the vehicle.
Nowhere to be found.
In other words, there was no Monroney label. I grumbled about the lack of window stickers on the vehicle. Not sure if you heard me. Lackos shared that Garber spans the entire East Coast, which is remarkable because we haven't heard of them, and is the oldest Buick GMC dealer around, over 100 years old. Now, does that mean that Lackos himself is over 100 years old?
He wasn't clear. It was.
I mean, I could be the oldest Toyota dealer, big 83 in December.
I don't know. I don't think you'd be the oldest.
I might be.
You'd be maybe in the top 5%.
I grumbled about the lack of window stickers on the vehicle. I just skipped backwards. That's because I'm 83 years old. I responded with a surprise, During our test drive around Fort Pierce, we didn't go far because there wasn't much gas in it. Lackos said something along the line of, oops. Is that the way in Hungarian? Oops.
Oops.
And did a U-turn, informing me we were heading back to the dealership to go over my numbers. As we walked inside, I told him I wanted to see the factory window sticker. He said he'd print one.
You can get them off the website. It's true.
We print our own window stickers. We don't use the factory stickers. We don't put them on the car. We don't put them in the car. We just print our own.
Just-in-time window stickers.
Inside, he asked for my name, license, and contact information. I won't be buying until tomorrow, as we're. Oops, I get that right now.
Yep.
Yeah, I won't be buying until tomorrow, as we're closing on our house today, and I can't do anything until our mortgage closes. I informed him. I can't give you numbers if you don't do a credit application, he replied. Now that's a doozy, isn't it?
Lackos.
In case you think you misunderstood me,
Laszlo.
this salesman, Lackos, said to me, Agent Lightning, I can't give you the price if you don't do a credit application. Now that's bizarre, illegal, unethical, immoral, and shocking.
It's legal in Prague.
Yeah, and hungry, he can do that all day long. Okay, let's just run it as it is, as if I'm paying cash. I suggested, to which he agreed. Well, he added that he's a very low-pressure salesman. I muttered something under my breath that he couldn't hear, and I guess Stu didn't write that up, so it was probably...
It started with B, ended with
Yeah.
T.
He printed the window sticker and handed it to me. The MSRP was $57,500. What are you thinking as far as price? Lecos asked. Here we go. Let the games begin. Well, I really want to know what I'd be looking at out the door with the new plate tax, etc., I said. We don't really do that here until you go to finance.
For 100 years, it's never been done another way.
I just, every time I read these shopping reports, this is really, really rough. But I mean, can you imagine any other product? I mean, can you imagine going to the Walgreens and you want to buy some Band-Aids?
And then you got to go in the back to talk about the price for a while.
Right. And imagine buying any product. Are you going to finance it? I'm not going to tell you the price unless you tell me you're going to finance it. Well, I can't really do that until I see a price, and I'm not able to do that until my home loan closes tomorrow, I responded. Lacos excused himself to speak with someone in a glass office. Those in glass offices shouldn't throw stones.
No.
I don't know why I said
Pretty
that.
good.
Upon returning, he assured me, I'm working on this for you. Just need to wait for Mr. Lenosi. Isn't that interesting? Mr. Lenosi. So he's already setting up a kind of like a tier level of importance. Mr. Lenosi. That means he's the boss.
Mr. Lenosi sets the price.
To finish up with his customer. Or maybe Mr. Lenosi requires Lacos to call him.
Mr. Lenosi.
I don't know. Then he will get the final price. After about 8 minutes, Lacos returned to ask, can you write a check today and we can cash it tomorrow? And you can take the car now. You can't make this stuff up, folks. I mean, I'm not...
It's so inelegant.
This is a real shopping report from a real dealer. Agent Lightning is a real mystery shopper,
And this
and
is
we're
what was
not making
said.
this stuff up.
Give me a check today, and we can cash it tomorrow.
I mean, first of all, it's stupid to say, and I wouldn't trust him. He would cash it today. He's lying. He'd cash it today. I still haven't seen the price yet, but that's certainly a possibility. Now she's got to play the
game.
Agent Lightning had to be boiling instead of saying, I mean, because it would have ended quickly for a lot of people. They would have said, are you out of your mind? And they would have run.
Yeah, but she's got a report to write.
You got to write the report. So she just, I still haven't seen the price yet, but that's certainly a possibility that I'll write the check and you promise you'll get a check. Oh. I pointed out, trying to sound a little exasperated. He then inquired, are you a first responder? Out of the clear blue sky. Are you a first responder or in the military, I mean, Veterans Day? What about a Costco member? Now, you know why they're asking those questions, because of the discounts. Typically, they ask those questions where they've been advertising, but this, I mean, if there is a positive, this was not an advertised price. She came in and was quoted the price, and the fact that he asked those questions is a little bit of an indication that there might have been a discount that he would have found that she could have been qualified for. Well, I am a Costco member, I confirmed with a sigh. He engaged in small talk while waiting for his manager. After shouting out to an office to confirm my zip code, he excused himself to a restroom break. Upon his return with the paperwork, he asked, are you ready to write a check? That's aggression. I said, show me what you have there, and he began to review the worksheet. Top line selling price was $59,495. That's $29.95 over MSRP, $2,995 over the Moroni label that we had to beg to get. Then he printed it out. I wonder what happened to the original one. Then they took off $3,264 as a Costco discount. Now, that's not the way Costco tells you to do it. That's ad lib. He just did that.
But they jacked it up to about that discount.
That's right.
Right before that.
Of course. Silly me.
It is a discount.
See, I was trying to give the guy credit. The reason he wanted to know about the qualified discounts, so he could add the qualified discount to the price.
Right, exactly.
So, I was just trying to be nice.
No.
They're even
Blackos
worse
was
than
not
I
nice.
thought they were. I'm tainting the vote. I'm sorry. I shouldn't do that. The new selling price was $56,231. Now, this is either an error or an intentional sleight of hand. The new selling price should be lower, $55,871. This move picked up an additional $360 for the dealership.
Right,
I think it was a mistake.
Really?
They wouldn't fool around for $360.
Where is that error? 'Cause,
If you subtract 50, if you take 3,264, subtract it from 59,495.
It's 56,231.
Oh, I did the math wrong.
I just did.
Okay, no, I'm saying I did the math wrong. All right,
Okay.
sorry guys.
I was just checking that, and I was, wait a minute, what?
Yeah,
I should have checked myself.
Yeah,
Sorry, I just.
Yeah, okay. Next came, so that was a mistake. It was the same price,
Okay.
but who cares? It was $360. Next came $997 in added equipment, identified by the asterisk as Garber Value Pack and Lifetime Warranty. Garber Value Pack and Lifetime Warranty. And by Chicken Scratch to be window tint with Zurich.
I was a little confused on the buyer's order. It says there's an asterisk and it's printed and it says it's Garber Value Pack, but he wrote next to the line and wrote window tint and Zurich. So
Zurich is everywhere. Every week. That's the new in paint sealant. That's the fabric protection.
Yeah.
They added a $299 online filing fee, and then they added an $895 dealer services fee. The subtotal before sales tax and tag, the real price, was $58,429. This is $2,679 over MSRP. Now, when you're trying to get $2,679 over MSRP, when prices are coming down and you're selling Buicks, that's pretty bold.
Yeah, but you got to see this Buick.
And here it is again. Ready to write a check?
It's a common refrain. It's like what do they call that?
Blackos, I haven't even spoken to my husband yet, I replied. He suggested, let's
Motif.
walk out to your car and talk to him. Man, I'll tell you what. When I explained my husband was on a work call, Blackos became more insistent, which really irked me. I tried to communicate this ire by staring and frowning, but he just kept going. I held up my hand and thanked him for his time and began to leave. He followed me, attempting to speak with my husband, but I quickly texted my husband, "Stay on the phone, honey. He's following me out to the car." Oh, Lord.
Get the pepper spray ready.
Yeah. Right. Don't touch the gun, just the pepper spray.
Set the stun.
Yeah. When you're in my car with my husband inside faithfully, playing his part, I shook Lacko's hand and he said goodbye, apologizing that my husband was still on his call. Wow.
Yeah. Look at this picture. Look at this Buick, though.
This is quite humorous.
Look at the picture of this Enclave. That's I know they say that's not your grandfather's Buick, but that is not your grandfather's
It's a good-looking
Buick.
vehicle, yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Looks
It's
looks
good-looking
like a
vehicle, yeah.
Highlander.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Quite humorous.
So there you have it.
Quite humorous.
I should ask for the votes, though. I'm almost afraid. Remember, this is live radio, so you can't be using obscenity.
We can
Dan.
say F
Come on.
as a grade. That's
You know, I
Agreed.
believe that if this wasn't Agent Lightning, who is unbelievable, her talents just go way above and beyond. I believe that if this was someone else that had walked into this dealership, they would have been taken advantage of, because intimidation is all over this mystery shopping report.
Garber Buick, GMC, Fort Pierce, Florida.
Yeah.
All right, Jonathan in Palm Coast says this dealership and the salesman's illegal activities get an F from me. Nothing more to say. I got one from Bob. Normally, I don't give grades before running your credit, but I'll make an exception. It's an F.
I love that. Who was that from?
That's from Bob.
Bob, yeah, you're
Long,
very
long time.
funny. I love that.
Let's see. Happy Veterans Day from a 21-year combat U.S. Air Force pilot. Hey, all right. Thank you, Frank, for your service. But Frank says, what an outrageous mystery shopping report. You can't make these reports up. Real life is more amazing than ever in the negative world of car shopping. Great F. Thanks, Frank. They're coming in. Anne-Marie's chiming in. Illegal behavior, obnoxious behavior, and stupid games rates an easy F. And we just have an F that just came in from the world. It just floated down there with no name, just an F. Yeah, I'm going to fail them. They got an F from me. It's been a while since I've done that.
Yeah, it
feels good.
Well, see, I'm glad we had this report because an F is pretty much obviously an F.
Yeah.
I mean, they should send the bulldozer down and raise Garber Buick.
But it's been 100 years. It's a historic site.
Yeah, yeah.
All I got to say is I love my YouTubers. Tom Steckel, F. They've got 10 years on Napleton, and it shows. Illegal Monroney, credit app. Take the I out of Buick, and you have buck. Too many bucks in fees for me.
Too many bucks.
Kirk in West by God, Virginia. Incredible. Lacos, I will pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. I just need the dang price. Too much absolutely wrong with this attempt to deal. Solid F minus. Negan 1, shady big F. Reminds me of when I was a kid at the corner gas station in Chicago. Always trying to sell you something you don't need. Joseph Kelleher, F. Worst car salesman ever. I get caught up here. Okay, back here. Hi, yeah. T-Cash says, my grade is GS for Sodom and Gomorrah. Rocky Blockatiel, I'm sorry, I can't give you an A without a credit application. You'll have to settle for an A. Johnny Z. Fradley, I was hoping to give an A today, but oops. Too many garbage fees and games.
Wow.
F.
Garbage.
Brian Sidlatko. No Monroney label listed. That's not good. F. Donovan. Prague is in the Czech Republic, and they get an F for all that garbage. Best one in a long time.
Okay.
I'm saying an F for Garber Buick.
All right.
Okay.
Wow.
And how about you, Earl?
I think we have to have a new score because F is not sufficient.
Yeah, we
And
need
it
a new
actually
list.
The Garber makes Napleton look like a class dealership.
Yeah, it's fine because they're away from they're not in
Yeah,
Sodom
Fort
and Gomorrah.
Pierce, yeah.
They're up the Treasure Coast away.
Well, how about G for Garberage?
All right, G.
Okay,
FG.
guys.
Well, the
My
new-
we're going to run
we'll
out
have
of
a new
we're going to run out of
called
time.
Garber, the Garber.
Yeah.
You
there
got a
you
Garber.
go. Hey,
A, B, C, D,
I
F,
gotta
or
say,
Garber.
I got to say, somebody asked me for a check 3 or 4 times. Well, I don't want to incriminate myself, but I could handle that. And then for you to go out and attack my husband, wouldn't it have been hilarious if he would have jumped out of the car with a baseball bat and said,
Chased him
I got
back
your
in.
check?
Are you ready to write a check now?
There you go.
Oh boy.
I mean, the credit app, the window sticker, the no gas, the whole kit and caboodle. I give him an F.
A C? Oh, okay.
Stay away from Garber Buick GMC of Fort Pierce. Ladies and gentlemen, I see by the clock that we have reached the end of the show, and we all here at Earl on Cars, thank you for joining us. You're an important part of the show. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy Veterans Day to all of you out there, and get out to the air show. Boy, I'll tell you, it's really something. Earl and I watched it last night from the living room. Have a great weekend.